Everybody, we're going to go ahead and get started. A little bit early today, but a lot of you guys are here already. For those of you that are going to catch the show, you can catch the show later. If you come in a little bit late, you can just go back to the beginning. But some strange developments going on over the past week. So I'm glad to be doing Between the Headlines show today for you guys to get all caught up on everything that's going on. It's starting to seem more and more like we're in some kind of backwards world. Remember under the T-Man when OuchiAIR was paraded out regularly, but under Bo Jiven, for some reason, we never see him paraded out with the president. So what's apparent to me is that the controllers have shifted their strategy by creating some kind of distance between the president and OuchiAIR. Now, the question is why, and I don't know the answer to that right now, but something is going on. And now, all of a sudden, OuchiAIR is saying that he wants stickers to be mandatory for air travel. This is unbelievable. Now, I have an old clip from 1992 in which OuchiAIR was saying that he did not believe in mandates, especially if there was some kind of punitive, some kind of punishment for not getting it. Well, apparently he's changed directions with all of this. Now, we've been saying that since the beginning that this was the goal. But now, here we are, on the brink of literally losing our connection to family and friends across the United States because of what we believe in. Let's read this article as we read between the headlines. Now, this is the HuffPost. OuchiAIR says he would support a mandate for all U.S. air travel. Now, he says here, if you want to get on a plane and travel with other people, then you should get the sticker. He told the Skim This podcast last week. The episode is set to air on Thursday. His comments come amid ongoing concern about the blah, blah, blah. Isn't it funny how they put this exact copy and paste statement on almost every article? Comments come amid ongoing concern about the highly right? And then, of course, they give you the update on Bo Jiven's sweeping potion requirements and basically solidify the agenda. So here we are on the brink of being forced to have the sticker to get on a domestic flight. Now, according to their headlines, the effectiveness of the potion has already begun to fall. And they're blaming it all on the unpotioned, of course. And the end result is boosters for life. It's just really shaping up to be just like the endless war in Afghanistan. And this will become the endless war on CV-19. Look at this headline, Business Insider. OuchiAIR predicts many, many more mandates to compel enough Americans to get the potion. So they're setting this up for a long-term strategy. Here's the falling efficacy, they're saying. And it's all our fault. It's all the fault of the people that have not gotten the potion yet. We knew they would be blaming us, coming after us. And now it's here. Look at this. Easy Isn't Real is on their 4th round of potions. 4th round of potions. This is dated September 13th from Market Watch. Considering a 4th round of potions, we don't know when it will happen. I hope very much that it won't be within 6 months. This is just going to go on and on and on. Now, the FIDA experts among the group opposing the boosters. So these people they can't even get on the same page with this. Average person doesn't need a booster yet. Well, a lot of this is smoke and mirrors. They're giving you hope and then they take it away. It's a takeaway clause. They make it look like someone's opposing it and then they snatch it off. Look what happened in California with the governor vote to recall. Everyone thought it was going to happen. It looked like a slam dunk, and then they pulled it right off the table. This is meant to disenfranchise you and just to have you not involved anymore, not care, and just go with whatever they do because there's no way to stop it anyway. This is the feeling that they want you to get. Now, the children, they're saying, once again, they're acting like they're going to change something, or they're acting like there's resistance. This is USA Today. But now they're saying that they need time to evaluate children to get the appropriate dose for children. Millions of parents are eagerly awaiting the arrival of the potion for children in elementary school. Maybe a few million parents are waiting. Notice how they word this. Not probably, I don't even think most are, but they say millions are. So they're available for 18 and older, of course, and they're saying that they need to do something with the actual dose to make it safe for the children. Now, here come the lawsuits. Now, I believe people should have been suing these people long time ago. Why are we waiting till now? Well, because now it's affecting people directly. See, they're going to lose their job because of this. This is Business Insider. Now they finally had enough, but these lawsuits should have been coming all the way last year this time. Let's see what's going on. It says anti-maskers are filling a wave of lawsuits against the CDC. The CDC. Here's why experts say their chances are low. Well, of course they're going to say that because there's an agenda, right? Notice how they never tell the other side of the story in a positive light. It's always them bagging on the other side of the story. True journalism, you would see both sides of the story. You would see some negative, some positive. But obviously that's not happening. Okay? They're only telling one side of the story. So, of course, they're going after the constitutionality of masks. So, I don't know how you can force someone to wear a mask, but apparently the new America that we live in, they're saying that they can. And, of course, the Surgeon General says we don't have a case. Most employers are covered by what's called at-will employment, and many of you know this. In other words, they can fire you for any reason. They don't need to provide any kind of evidence or anything. This is in most states. The only thing that you can do to combat at-will employment is to provide blatant evidence of discrimination. Otherwise, you're not going to win. You'd almost need to have something written down on a piece of paper, someone making a racial statement or discriminating against you because of something written down in an email or something, which most employers are very careful never to do that. You're not allowed to record people without their knowledge in certain states, so you're probably not going to get them that way. But you're pretty much with at-will employment, you're going to lose every lawsuit that you try to sue against the employer. I think the other one would be like harassment. But again, you'd have to prove that, because if you're in a he said, she said case, that's very hard to prove. Surgeon General Murty says the Bojivin administration, their mandates, their potion mandates for employment is legal and appropriate. Now, I don't know how we ever accepted at-will employment in that policy to begin with. It's beyond me. You know, it almost feels like employers have always had all the power in the employer-employee relationship. Isn't it interesting how employers have even so much more power than like a landlord? Landlords carry a lot more liability than an employer, but yet people are able to squat in homes they're renting or apartments they're renting for months and months. But yet your employer can just let you go, and there's very little you can do about it. So, churches continue to sell us out. In this next story, we knew this was coming. This is the Washington Examiner. Utah potions jump after encouragement from Mormon leaders dip due to those kinds of theories. Let's see what's going on in Utah. September 12th, 2021. Utah's potion rate spiked after the church issued a strong statement encouraging potions. Of course they are. Then decreased in the weeks that followed. To limit the exposure to the virus, we urge the use of masks in public meetings whenever distancing is not possible. So basically, the Mormon Church is now on board. State of Utah, 61% Mormon. 65% of Mormon Church members said they support the sticker. Now, I don't believe any of these polls anymore, and when we get to the end of the show, you're going to see why. I'm going to show you a blatant example of how polls are pretty much just made up. And if they did any research to see how people really felt, they would see that the polls that they put out there are wrong. So we'll get to that later in the show. Now, the only people in the world that seem to be standing up en masse are the people in Paris. They are marching and have been marching over the last several months every single Saturday by the hundreds of thousands. Yet, you barely hear a peep from the mainstream news. Thousands of protesters marched in Paris. Notice how they say thousands. That's the headline. It's actually over 100,000 across the entire country. Freedom and Macron, we don't want your pass. Now, England has made a small victory. They've done away with this pass, the passport, because of the stiff resistance by the people. 121,000 people joined the anti-health pass protest around France as of Saturday. So why doesn't this headline say 121,000 people march against the pass? Instead, it sounds like a small group of people in a park. Unbelievable. And this has been the state of affairs with the media. Underreporting, reporting only things that help the agenda, which tells you everything you need to know. Meanwhile, the media's relentless hype is now claiming that babies can't be born because of CV-19. New York hospital had to pause delivering babies after the staffers quit rather than get the potion. Oh, you horrible staffers. Now we can't deliver babies because of you. It's all your fault. The nurses went from hero to zero seemingly overnight, at least the ones that don't want the potion. They should have seen this coming because the agenda was the agenda all along. It's this next story. New CV-19 rules may mean higher premiums and even pink slips for the unpotioned. Here we sit. Millions of jobs are on the line right now. Think of the hypocrisy of this. You have a very, very, very low percentage of dying from CV-19. What is it? What are the statistics now? I don't know if it's 0.5%. I don't know. But if you get this potion, or if you don't get this potion, what they're saying basically is we're going to ruin your life. We're going to fire you. You're going to lose your house, your cars, possibly your marriage. We could take away your children if we wanted to. We've now turned you from a solid middle-class family into a poor, impoverished family. Now, what kind of sense does this make to you? It makes absolutely no sense. But this has become the new normal. Millions of workers are facing new rules for the potion in the wake of the president's order. Remember, Ouchie said that there will be even more and more mandates to force people to take this. The new requirement applies to employers with at least 100 workers, potentially affecting more than 80 million people. Another 20 million who work with or for the federal government will have to get the potion. The mandates are legal as long as an employee can seek accommodations for legitimate medical or religious reasons. The problem is they're not approving the religious exemptions. They're only offering it to pretend like there's a chance for you to qualify, but then they just pull it off the table. We'll have to do a show on that and see how many of these religious exemptions are being approved. Now, I can tell you this. I had a couple of subscribers come forward and ask for my assistance in helping them with these exemptions. I can tell you that's probably the fastest way you won't get approved for an exemption is to have a person like me writing you a letter. One, because I'm not a 501c3 organization. I'm not an official religious entity, which according to corporate America, that's all they recognize as a religious entity. Now, the ones that are 501c3, they're not giving out exemptions and writing letters. Why? Because of the story we just showed you with the Mormons. They are also bought and sold. So, people are between a rock and a hard place. Now, if you can get one of your 501c3 pastors to write you a letter, that's probably your best option at this point. And meanwhile, we get propaganda like this. This is from The Week. 58% of Americans support Bo's new mandates? I don't think so. And these people should be ashamed of themselves. 3 and 5, and I'll tell you why. How does 58% saying they approve with it, how does that jive with ABC News, NBC News, CBS News, and the ratings on these videos? Let's take a look at where these ratings are. Now, understand that when these ratings first came out, there were very few thumbs up on these videos of the president addressing the nation about these new mandates. I can imagine that this has been doctored a bit to give this even this 11,000 number. But look at the ratings here. Look at the ratings. And it's not on one video. It's on all of them. On left-leaning outlets like ABC News. Let's look at NBC News. Same video. Let's take a look. Look at this. 3.5 thousand thumbs down. 323 thumbs up. Does that sound like 58% of America approves of these mandates? No, it does not. The Week. So you might want to go back and retake your poll because it doesn't quite sound right at all. Let's look at CBS News. I'm shocked they haven't turned off the ratings. Look at this. 1,000 thumbs up, almost 10,000 thumbs down. You guys, this is 90% in the opposite direction. Over 90% disagree with him. So, welcome to Backwards World. How can you, with a straight face, put up an article like this? The Week, 58% of Americans support. Now, I know not all people come to YouTube, but YouTube is overwhelmingly left-leaning. We showed you articles on that. Pew Research says that most of YouTube is left-leaning. It outnumbers Republicans. So that makes it even worse. And look, you can't even give your feedback here. They have temporarily been suspending article commenting for the last 2 years. And all or most of these online news outlets have suspended article commenting. And they all seem to do it at exactly the same time, didn't they? Right before the spamdemic started. Wow. And just to show you how these people lie through their teeth about everything, pretty much. This guy pops his head up after I could have swore that they killed this guy like 5 times already. Reminds me of I Pet Goat 2. Bomama Lynn Baden in his reappearance. I guess we'll see. But he put up a new video basically saying that his plan worked in Afghanistan. Now, I don't believe all that. This guy's probably CIA too. And they're just making it, it's feeding into that whole teeterist meme so that people believe the lie that 3 buildings fell into their own footprint, didn't fall this way, that way, left or right. They fell exactly straight down, which, in order for that to happen, all of the material beneath them would have to be removed in an exact order, floor by floor. And that's what everyone believes. The only way to do that is to disintegrate what's underneath them as it's falling. Perfectly timed succession. So, wow. Now, this is our last story, and I'll be with you guys in the chat. But it appears to me that since the spamdemic began, building supplies have been inflated the most. In some cases, 300% increase in building supplies. Now, they tell us, of course, that it's because of a bottleneck occurring with shipping containers and these container ships, and the supply chain is bottlenecked. We've got hundreds of these shipping containers sitting out in harbors almost on every coast, on every port. Now, if you were like the president of the United States, wouldn't you believe this was a national emergency? I mean, people need supplies, right? Wouldn't you go, hey, we're having a crisis here, and we need to declare a state of emergency in these ports and get these shipping containers moving. I'm going to appropriate $30 billion to shore up and get the supply chain moving, because this is national security. If we can't get our supply chain moving, that's the kind of thing you would think that they would do. But instead, the opposite is happening. The container ships are sitting out on these ports, and they are not moving. Why wouldn't they just raise wages and hire more workers? Heck, if there was a port near me and they were giving people $40 an hour to go out there and help move this stuff, I'd be there tomorrow. But they won't. Now, this story's been largely underreported by the media. And I'll tell you why I think that is after we read this story. There's something going on, and it's a covert operation. This is Reuters. From zippers to glass, shortages of basic goods hobble the U.S. economy. It's not just basic goods, you guys. It's building materials, wood, electric components, breaker boxes, wiring, freezers, anything that can be used to prepare or be off the grid is basically on back order. We're talking months of back order. Let's read this article. For Lauren Rash, it's the little things that have snarled production at her tent factory here, like the many shades of black Velcro. Her company, Diamond Brand, just launched a new line of high-end wall tents called the Liminal, thick with vents and fasteners demanded by discerning campers. But that means lots of Velcro, and that's a problem because black Velcro comes in many shades depending on the type of raw plastic resin used to make it. If I have older stock and put it with new, the colors won't match. Black is not black is not black. Before supply chain breakdowns and shortages swept the world in the wake of the spam-demic, buying the bits and pieces for an assembly line was often as easy as clicking a button and waiting a few days or a few weeks for delivery. Not anymore. Shortages of metals, plastics, wood, and liquor bottles are now the new norm. The upshot is a world where buyers must wait for delivery of items that were once plentiful, if they can get them at all. She has piles of tents she can't ship because she can't get the right aluminum tubing for their frames, for instance. Now, do you see the theme here? Building materials. Hefty price increases. So, what is really going on here? I believe this is a covert domestic embargo. Why? To discourage the building of off-grid and homes in unincorporated areas. This is very similar to Operation Anaconda that President Lincoln imposed on the South. Basically, it was mostly a naval blockade so that they could not get goods. Now, why can I say this with confidence that that's what I think is going on? It's because of the types of items that we just went over. Go on to Home Depot and try to buy a freezer, a chest freezer, to store like lots of food in. You can't find it in most places. It's getting crazy, you guys. It's the specificity of the items being shorted, as well as the fact that the federal government is not lifting one single finger to get these shipping containers moving. They want everybody on the grid. That is the point of all this. They want you on the grid so that you're more easily controllable. That way, when we are faced with hard choices, like losing your job because you refused a potion mandate, they believe that most people will just accept it because they want to keep their job, because they have no option. They don't have a property they can just go to and hang out on. I believe that growth is intentionally being discouraged. Any kind of construction. And this is creating a trickle-down effect for the contractors that do building. It's starving them out. Now, if anyone can confirm this in the chat of what I'm saying, let me know. Have you tried to order something lately? Have you tried to replace a window? Have you tried to buy wood for something? If the contractors can't get building supplies, then they can't work because there's not enough building materials. So once again, it's an attack on the middle class. Now, if you have not seen the attack on the middle class going on since this thing started, then you're not going to ever see it. Many of you own small businesses, and you know that there's been an attack on the middle class. Remember they used to talk about small business all the time? Remember the presidents would always go, yeah, the small business sector. Notice how they never talk about that anymore, because they know that they're trying to make it go extinct. Now, we'll see how all this progresses, but I don't anticipate that it's going to let up until they hit their 95% potion goals. The whole world is on global backorder. Exactly. Now, yes, Bo Jiven is not our friend. None of these presidents are our friend. No ships have come to port in Southern California for 6 weeks. Let's look at this up. Shipping container crisis. Why isn't the president talking about this? He won't, because it's their design. Supply chain bottlenecks. Gosh, this is from, it's like 2 weeks ago. Ship backlog. Here's promo marketing. Notice you don't get the first search results are not from mainstream outlets. Record container ship backlog. A supply chain issues worsen. Look at all these. Look at these, you guys. Look at all these ships out here. Just sitting. Here's all your windows and doors and your building materials. Just so happens that the lumber mills are having the same problem. 44 container ships are currently waiting to access the ports of LA and Long Beach. That tops the previous spamdemic record by 40. Oh, what is the president going to say? Oh, the answer is if we just all get to 95% potioned, then this all goes away. That's his answer. Wow. So this is what's driving the cost of things up. All the ports are the same. This is California. What are some other major ports? Shipping container backlog. Let's see, Louisiana. See if they have a supply issue here. What are the other major ports, you guys? Container shortages causing shipping delays. Oh, there we go. 2 weeks ago. Here's Louisiana. I think it said 29 ships. Let's do a search on this page. No, not 29 ships. So, most of the ports around the country are backlogged. All right. All right. Let's see here, you guys. Yes, cutting supply chains to starve us. Uh-oh. Someone says screen is blank. Oh, looks like we're having some issues. So I'm going to go ahead and says we are. It's got to be a YouTube thing, you guys. Well, we're going to go ahead and end the show here. When did the screen stop working? A couple minutes ago? Weird. The whole time? Never saw anything. Wow. All right. Well, welcome to YouTube. All right. I'm going to go ahead and end the show there, you guys. I'll put links to all this. At least you got to hear the show. And we'll be back on here tomorrow. Take care and be safe, everybody.